Morning, everyone. Welcome. Just give a minute for everyone to start coming in the door before we get going. Okay, I think we'll make a start now. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's Innovation Showcase. My name is Lauren Rold. I'm the Industry Manager at ecologiQ, and I'll be your host today. And co-hosting with me, we have Lily Rose Palmer, who's our Senior Industry Advisor. Before we get going today, I'd just like to acknowledge that we are on the traditional lands of the Kulin Nations. I'm dialing in myself from Naarm in Melbourne, and I pay my respects to elders past and present and any First Nations people who may be joining us on the call today. I acknowledge the deep and continued connection to land, sea and sky. The modern definition of sustainability is a fairly new concept today. However, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people have practiced sustainability for over 60,000 years, and I hope that we can learn from their knowledge as we pursue it today. So what is ecologiQ? We are a Victorian Government initiative to optimise the use of recycled and reused materials in Victoria's major transport infrastructure projects to reduce waste and contribute to a circular economy. And the way we do this is through the Recycled First policy. So implemented in March of 2020, it requires all tenderers for Victorian big build projects to consider and demonstrate how they will incorporate recycled and reused materials into projects. And secondly, to report on their use before, during, and at completion of construction. So this data component is really important. Not only does it show us how much recycled material has been used, but it gives us insights into the market and so that we can know where our efforts are best placed to address barriers, harness those opportunities and enable greater uptake. Speaking of data, so at the end of April, the policy has seen 3.4 million tonnes of recycled and reused materials used in big build projects so far, with 3.8 million tonnes committed. I won't talk too much to it here, though. I'm really pleased to say that after our supplier presentations today, we have Glenn from the ecologiQ Data and Analytics team who'll come in to present on the recently released Recycle First summary report. So please do stick around for a few minutes after the final presentation. Big welcome to our panel for today. I'll just get everyone to turn on their cameras and introduce themselves. Andrew, if you'd like to go first.
Good morning, everyone. Andrew Papkostas, Department of Transport and Planning, Principal Engineer, Pavements and Materials, working in the area. One of my areas of responsibilities on technical standards and specifications, which therefore encompasses new products, recycled materials and the like. Thanks, Lauren.
Beautiful. Thanks, Andrew, and welcome back. Irina, if you can go next.
Hi, everyone. My name is Irina Krsteska. My role is Deputy Director Engineering at MRPV. Me and my team, which is the engineering team overall, support, I guess, ecologiQ and also all the projects in I guess, in promoting sustainability outcomes and implementing it on projects. We also, in partnership with the DTP, to develop and improve all the current standards and create new ones to promote sustainable and recycled materials.
Beautiful. Thanks, Irina, and welcome back again as well to you. And finally, Dr. Paul Reichel, who's joining us for the first time on the panel.
Yes, hello. I'm the manager of the Research and Development Program within the Hive R&D within the Level Crossing Removal Project. This is a group that's focused on, I guess, innovations, often in the technology, data and process space, but we have done some interesting work in the past with materials.
Beautiful. Thanks so much, Paul. little bit of housekeeping in the format for today. So we've got three suppliers presenting to you. So first up, we've got Replas Civil, followed by Stratex, and then Aspire. Each supplier will give us a 10-minute pitch, followed by a 10-minute Q&A session with our panel. Audience members, if you do have questions, please use the Q&A function, which you'll see down the bottom of your screen. If you can please indicate which supplier your question is for, just so we know who to answer, and they'll jump on after their presentations and answer them for you. So without further ado, Anthony, if you'd like to pop your camera and mic on and take it away.
Thank you, Lauren. All right, there we go. Yep, cool. All right. Good morning. My name's Anthony Russell. I'm the National Account Manager for Replas Civil. We are a recycled plastic product company based in Melbourne. Our main processing factory is in the lovely town of Ballarat, and our head office is based in Carrum Downs. We have a footprint Australia-wide. Our goal is simple: is manufacturing for a sustainable future. Lauren, if we'll flick to the next slide. Okay. So Replas has been around for over 33 years, manufacturing recycled products from problematic plastic waste in our environment. Just recently, we've been given a $2.5 million grant from Sustainability Victoria, in conjunction with as a federal grant, in conjunction with Sustainability Victoria, which we'll be reinvesting into our manufacturing hub in Ballarat. So we've kept that facility open there since the inception of Replas, and have no plans to move that, just keep expanding. All of our products are made here in Australia from Australian waste. And every one of our products has a minimum 85% recycled plastic inside their products. And as I stated, obviously being based in regional Victoria, we're very strong with our regional roots. We employ locals within our business, as well as source local businesses to assist us in finishing products. But while we are a regional-based company, you will find us Australia-wide. You'll be, and as well as New Zealand, you'll find us in every major town, cities, in areas that you'll walk past every single day. And further into this presentation, you'll see what I mean by that. We'll flick the next slide. So as I said, all of Replas' products are made from a minimum of 85% recycled content, which is, over the last 30 plus years, over 50,000 tons of our problematic waste has been recycled into new material that, as I said, you'll walk past every day and may not even realize that it's recycled plastic. Just a little bit of an understanding of some of those products. In that time, we've made over 750,000 bollards that have been manufactured, and that you'll find in parks, car parks, around shopping centres, walking tracks around Australia. We've done over 35,000 furniture items, and that is tables and chairs you'll find in parks, at shopping centres, even in sporting complexes and places like Flemington Racecourse as well. And then over 315,000 meters of enduro plank. This is our most popular, one of our most popular items, and one item you won't even know what it is until you're actually walking over it. It's our planking product that you'll find, again, Australia-wide, in places like boardwalks in rainforest parks, national parks, beaches, even overpasses and the like through there. I'll flick to the next slide. Now, obviously, I will repeat myself through this a lot, but for a sustainable future, Replas' goals are making sure that we're maintaining that problematic waste. We're repurposing it into feedstock for our remanufacturing. We are, as I said, it's an 85% minimum recycled material, and that's our promise to every customer that buys from us, is that the products you're buying have that 85% recycled material inside of it. They're built for the Australian conditions as well. So we obviously understand that every biome in Australia is different. We've got every classical type of facility, from tropical rainforest to frosty mountains, to scorching hot beaches to, bustling city centres. Every single product we manufacture is built for those conditions. We have UV stabilizers in all of our products that assist us in making sure that our products will last the test of time. We're closing that loop. So everything that we make is recycled and can be recycled again. So we have a very simple process inside Replas, and it's a circular economy, that everything that we manufacture can be, if it's ever resumed, has to be taken out of the ground, is damaged is damaged in some way, shape, or form. We'll take it back and re-recycle it back into our products again. And as we move further into a sustainable future, our Ballarat facility is powered by over 200 kilowatts of solar panels, and that will keep growing as we keep growing, to ensure that we're keeping ourselves a green company, not just today, but well into the future. We'll flick to the next slide, please, Lauren. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. As you see, we're trusted by several, government authorities, as well as local government, as well as big businesses across Australia. And these are just a small snapshot of some of these customers that we deal with on a daily basis. Myself, I'm based here in Brisbane, so there are a lot of local councils up here that deal with us. They're obviously the big one being Brisbane City Council, but not just here in Queensland, not just in Victoria, Australia-wide. We deal with, on a daily basis, all different departments of government, to facilitate their sustainability requirements, to take Australia away from to take that problematic waste out of Australia and repurpose it into new products that will last the test of time. Excuse me. Laura, if we can flick to the next slide. What I'm here today to talk to you about is the civil side of our business. So if we flick to the next slide, Replas Civil is a division that focuses solely in the civil and infrastructure range of our business. Now, Replas is split into two businesses, and there's the commercial side, which does handle what I showed you in some of those images earlier, which are our furniture and our planking and stuff like that. The civil products are products you'll walk over every single day and not know they're there. These are products that we have over the last 30 years taken concretes, metals, and timbers out of the environment. These products are, they're unsustainable, they're unrecyclable, and just end up in landfill, and created products that not only, again, stand up to the test of time, but are actually products that have a fit for purpose use in our environment. Our hydrant covers, our valve covers, cover major infrastructure with water valves, stop valves. Our bollards get used in around, as I mentioned before, around parks and around national parks and wildlife, and even as much as just local schools. Our marker posts are valuable in the scope of being able to visibly see where our hydrant covers and our valve boxes are out in the environment, so that they are identifiable from the road. And other products in that we do have in there are also taking away non-recyclable material. The little black wedge blocks you see on that last slide are our thrust blocks, and currently in the environment they're made from red gum, which is an unsustainable material. As we move further into the future, red gum will no longer be able to be harvested out of the environment and used into these blocks and wedges that are currently used under hydrants and valves underground. And our recycled plastic will last, forever and a day, well beyond anybody in this webinar's lifetime. Lauren, if we move to the next slide, please. So just as an example, this is just one of our hydrant covers. And as I mentioned, these will be products you'll walk over every single day. You won't even know they're there unless you are a person who has a practical use for actually opening one of these up. The funny thing about this is, when you start to see these products, and this webinar, you'll go out today and you'll walk around, and your eyes will just cast to the ground and you'll notice them. And this is one of the Replas. This is one of the civil differences with our products, is that they're not out there to be seen. They have a practical application. And however, in the past, these have been made out of concrete, and concrete is susceptible to damage just into day-to-day use. Our products are usually found in the footpaths or in the curbs of our road. And as I mentioned, they have a very important purpose out there, being that they cover important infrastructure like hydrants, fire hydrants, stop valves, and that in the environment that are funneling water basically through to our homes and businesses. If we move to the next slide there, Lauren. This is just an example of just one of them sitting in the ground. You know, imagine the amount of times you will have walked past, you know, through a park or just in your local street. That's okay, and you can flick through to the next slide. There's a couple of images, and you just walk past these and just not even know what they are. The very common part of this is a lot of the time you'll see these out there now. They'll be broken, but these are concrete ones. Our products have been, as I mentioned there, this is in Ballarat here in where our head office is based, not obviously in the McDonald's, but this is an example of just a product of one of ours in a road that, you know, is driven over every single day. You won't see it, you know, but those that need it, you know, it's there. And our product being made from a recycled plastic, you know, it's what we call internally it's our set and forget type of product. It's put in the ground. It's very low or zero maintenance type of product that enables us to ensure that when we sell this product, even though we have a 10-year warranty on our range, it's not something that we feel is ever going to actually have to be replaced. Just on those valve boxes and stuff, we are Class B certified. So the photo that you saw previously of that being in the road isn't exactly, you know, we haven't installed that, but that is just showing that, you know, our products have been put into the ground. They are obviously slip resistant. The cast iron covers and those little bumps you see over the top of our covers, they're designed there to make our product, you know, give it a little bit more friction on top of the surface, so that if you do walk over it, you're not going to slip. As I mentioned, they're UV stabilized. All of our products can be colored to any local government or even local planning requirements. We have a number of standard colors that we use on a day-to-day basis. We also have a number of you know, outlandishly colors that we've tendered and quoted on as well, that are outside of the norm. But our biggest invention in this is coming very, very soon down the pipeline, and it'll be a recycled plastic lid. And in the previous images you saw there, the square H cover, which you can see just in the background of that one there, was that brownie color. Those covers at the moment are currently a cast iron cover, which is obviously unrecyclable. It rusts, it loses its color, it becomes a safety hazard over time. What we're looking at doing is introducing a recycled plastic cover that will still maintain its detectability by using a material called magnetite inside the cover that'll increase the weight of the plastic, as well as making sure that it covers all the same requirements as listed above that there. But this product will be 100% recyclable. So which basically means we will have a product that will be 100% recyclable by Replas. We'll be able to color code them, which also then means that for anybody who has seen these, the cast iron covers out there in the environment, you know, when you're walking around, and you'll notice that the paint has started to chip off them and whatnot. The local government, the local councils have to make sure they redeploy people to constantly maintain these, to keep their color up, to make sure they identify. With us creating a product that is a color bonded product to our cover, it does mean that there is no more maintenance required on that. It won't fade, it won't chip away, it won't rust, which means when we sell this product to a customer and it's put into the ground and under regular standards of use, basically, this product is going to last, you know, well above our 10-year warranty. And we're very adamant that, you know, a lot of our products will last over 40 years. If we flick to the next slide, please, Lauren.
Anthony, we are well over time now, so
we
are
are
going to have to jump to
okay.
questions.
All good.
I'm
no
sorry,
dramas at all.
but
No,
I'll just keep flicking through the slides. Yeah, I certainly know I notice a lot of Replas products when I'm out and about, but any of our panelists keen to go first? Andrew.
Thanks, Anthony, for the presentation, and well done. It's quite an impressive product range. You said 85% of all your products contain recycled plastic. So what's the source of your of the plastic? Where do you get it from?
Yeah, so at the moment, our materials are locally sourced through Victoria and New South Wales. So we have had our items sourced through places like Vic Health, Metro Health, and that sort of stuff. There is obviously a lot of old COVID waste, face masks and stuff like that. Soft plastic rubbish from the old red cycle campaigns and stuff like that. And then just general, general covers that just general plastics that go through recycle manufacturers that then we buy back and grind down.
It's predominantly a particular plastic type that you're after.
There is, yeah. So it's your polyolefin plastics, your low density and high density polyethylenes. We don't play with the PVCs and stuff like that. Unfortunately, it's not compliant with our products. But yeah, we're definitely targeting the that regular sort of rubbish, your PE bottles and stuff like that are obviously filling in the waste.
Yeah. And you said that all your products have at least 85% recycled plastic. So does the formulation of the final material vary much across the product range? Like
Not
versus decking planks versus...
No. Most of all of our products are made from the same material. For more in depth on what I might do is I may actually get one of our general managers who's a bit more of a plastics expert on that to come to me with a bit more of a breakdown. I do know we have a lot of, on our website, we have a lot of our technical data sheets and our MSDSs and stuff like that with the full breakdown of the products as well as the data sheets on them as well. On our website, you can go to our website, you can follow the QR code that's on screen now and actually go to our website and get the and download all of our product brochures, all of our MSDSs and stuff like that. So if there are any questions around what those products are, but if you are after some more technical bonding, how it all gets put together, I can definitely make sure we can put you in touch with our team, Andrew, and they can definitely give you some more insight onto that.
Yeah, the question goes, and it's my last question, Lauren.
No.
It goes to, I suppose, the issue of durability. When we talk about any products, it's about what's the long-term performance, and you've been around for decades, I suppose. I suppose you would have a particularly good data set where you can point to that particular material type being used in the environment and how it's performed over a long period of time to give potential buyers confidence in the long-term performance of the product they seek to buy from you.
Yeah, correct. Well, as I said, we've been around for over 33 years, and in that time, we have products that are out in the environment that predate even our UV stabilization in our products and are still just as good today as they were when they were installed 30 years ago. All of the civil range of products, so our covers and lids, all currently meet a Class B standard. Okay, so for low trafficability in the footpaths and stuff like that, we obviously can't control those customers out there who put their product outside of that scope. But I have seen our product in areas that they shouldn't be, and they're still holding up. They have the general wear and tear on them that you would expect, but I haven't seen any cracks or damages on them in that time.
Thanks, Anthony.
No worries.
Thanks, Andrew. Arena.
Thanks, Anthony. Look, obviously, you've got a range of products which are well used and for a long time, and you're now moving obviously into the civil infrastructure products, which is great to see. What I wanted to ask first is what sort of barriers you see, I guess, in terms of keep promoting that and developing more products, because you've mentioned something about maybe outdated standards or something. Is that something that you think needs kind of a bit of work and help for you?
Yeah, I guess the big thing for us is changing the mentality of the outside buyers in that plastic isn't cheap. Like, it's not, obviously we are an Australian-made business. We're using Australian-made products by the simple put of us. Our products aren't cheaply made. Like when people think plastic, they think it's light, it's fluffy, it's going to break, it's not going to last. Our products we've got many examples of our products lasting that test of time. I guess that it's changing that mindset of people who are who are a little bit still in the I won't say stone ages, but getting them out of the mindset of cast iron, non-recyclable, getting them understanding that we have a sustainable product. We have obviously a number of our products listed with the MRWA through the Melbourne Regional Water Association. We would love to have more of those councils, on there as well, and that is a task that we in Replas are slowly working on. And it is, we hit hurdles across this. It is just I guess it's changing that mentality. It's as businesses sort of move out and they start to understand that there is value in sustainable products and that there is longevity in these products over the concretes and the metals and the timbers that are out there now.
And my second question, I mean, from a government point of view, state government point of view, we're definitely promoting and require kind of sustainable outcomes on our projects. So that will probably help. But I guess your products at the moment don't necessarily have suitability for major roads, arterial roads, like, for example, the covers. Do you have any plans to develop like class C or E, I guess, type?
We do have plans to take our covers to class D. It is in the pipeline. It is just we have a range of other products in that we are releasing into the environment, into the population that are just a little bit ahead of that schedule at the moment. Our covers currently at the moment, the Australian standard for them is class B. We definitely want to be better. We want our product to be better than the standard. So we are pushing for that class C. So they can be put into roads, they can be put into major infrastructure and stuff like that. So that is definitely something we are working on. It's outside of my wheelhouse as far as to how far that is in the pipeline, but it is definitely on the cards for Replas to have our products, especially our civil and infrastructure products to that class B, to that class D standard. Beyond that, probably not.
Yeah. Okay. Look, from our experience, and you probably know this, that contractors normally go in one or two suppliers which have most of the products available. So it's like a one-stop shop for them. So liaising with others, you kind of to promote your products is maybe one avenue. But yeah, I'm sure you were thinking about that. That's
very much so. Thank you, Irina.
Thanks, Irina. And Paul.
I just had questions around, installing these products. Is it the same sort of competencies that people would have for existing products?
Most definitely, yeah. There's no difference to installations of our products. In the marks of our in the scope of like our bollards and marker posts, we actually have installation guides available to the consumers who are actually installing them. With the covers and so forth that we have there now, they are very much a simple. They're an above ground or just on the surface level product. They can be bonded with bitumen, they can be bonded with concrete, they can be bonded with soil without any issues of corrosion or damage long term with those. So, I've seen our products sitting above the ground where the earth is obviously eaten away from it. I've seen them buried, quite a fair ways, quite a bit under the surface level as well. So there's no standards per se as to how they've got to be installed with our covers. However, with the bollards and the marker posts, there are standards, and we do supply an installation guide, a recommended installation guide for them.
But it's the same workforce competency skills.
Very, very much so. Yes, yeah. There's no specialist training. There's no special requirements to install our products. It is exactly the same. It's just a newer material.
And touching on a little bit on Irina's question, where they have a point where they have just one-stop shops. You have availability of the product. Like, first of all, in the rail sector, have you had much luck, I guess, getting into the sector, and is there any challenges you've encountered so far in that space?
Not in my part of it there. We do have some products, which I won't go into too much today, that will probably assist the rail infrastructure later in the year, if not early into 2025, in just covers and products and that sort of stuff there that we're looking to introduce. So I have an electrical wholesale background myself, so I've actually in a previous lifetime handled a lot of the rail crossing duplication projects in Victoria. So I am quite familiar with them and a lot of the processes that went through there. So, I definitely am pushing for Replas to move, to venture into, an electrical space as well as a water space, as well as a landscaping space, just to ensure we have as much pull into all the products out there. And we are constantly inventing, well, not inventing, we're reinventing new products. As I mentioned, our goal is to get rid of concretes, metals, timbers out of the environment and replace them with ecologically eco-sustainable products.
Yep. Okay. And obviously you've been working then in the past and future on the rail space together with some of the people that are currently in there to get them in there. Sometimes it's familiarity and
it is, yeah. So we've with some of the products we've dealt with, we're talking with major electrical wholesalers down there in Victoria. My background, obviously, from electrical wholesaling myself, I've made contact with a few of them up here as well, just to ensure that we have we have enough eyes on these products that we're looking at bringing out, that we can push them out into those ranges, and we are always very open to our customers coming to us with suggestions of products. It's very much one of my number one questions when I'm talking to my customers is, if you're looking at products that you're installing today that are made out of concrete, metals and timbers, and you're thinking, I wonder if these can be made out of a more sustainable material, then by all means, feel free to reach out to us in any way, shape or form, and we will look into it. That is how a lot of our products have come about.
That's great.
Thanks so much for your questions, Paul, and thank you, Anthony. I can see there's a couple of questions in the Q&A, so if you'd like to pop in there and type some answers.
No worries at all.
And I'll now introduce and ask Stratex to come on and give their presentation.
Thank you, Lauren. I'm Nelson Earl from Stratex. I'm the Victorian Territory Manager. So basically what I'm going to be talking about today predominantly is the new 100% recycled silt sock. But firstly, I'll just give you a quick introduction to the company and what we're about. So if you'd like to go to the next slide, please. So we specialise in a lot of environmental personal protection, which obviously outlined there is spill control, hazardous storage, site safety, PPE, and we supply a lot of major organisations in infrastructure, mining, waste management, etc. We partner with companies like Laing O'Rourke, John Holland, Fulton Hogan, Acciona, Down, McConnell Dow. We supply a lot of absorbents, a lot of innovative drain protection controls. We developed the guard dog drain filter, which has been out there on sites for probably 2 to 3 years, a lot of civil infrastructure projects. It's more of a temporary drain management or drain protection mat, which was made from recycled content from mattresses and post-industrial and consumer waste, and it was bonded together and developed to protect the drains. It filters down to 53 microns. So that's just a bit of a touch on what's out there in the field. You may have been out on some of the civil projects and seen the guard dog drain filter in place. It's on the Northeast Link. It's been on a Westgate Tunnel project and many other civil infrastructure projects, particularly in Victoria and also in New South Wales. We also supply in each state. So we've got warehouses in Tasmania, obviously Victoria and New South Wales and Queensland. So if we can just go to the next slide, Lauren. So here to talk about the 100% recycled silt sock. So traditionally on a lot of sites, you'll have out there a sock that's around gutters, any drainage grates, etc. It's normally filled with scoria and it's like a polypropylene type covering. And the idea of that is that it allows the water to filter through, goes through the scoria, takes out any silt and sediment and protects the drain. So you'll often see them, particularly the green ones, around many projects. There's thousands sold per month, Australia-wide. We come up with the concept of doing something in the recycled area. So we had a call from SPA, Alliance Asiona, and they had a lot of gork mesh, which they were trying to get rid of. It's been traditionally going into landfill. So we decided, what can we do with that product? So the actual gork mesh, banner mesh, is typically on a lot of sites or through Victoria. We've concentrated particularly on Victoria at this stage. And it's got fine holes all through it. And we come up with a concept of filling it with a washed aggregate to filter out any silt and sediment. And we've had some trials in place, which are proving very beneficial. The product has been out there for about 4 months now, 4 to 5 months. So it's relatively new. It's in the testing stages. So if we just go to the next slide. So basically, as I touched on, it's made from the gork screen. And what we do is we go out to these sites, partner with sites like MRPV. We've had a lot of contact with them, and they've had a lot of gork mesh, which has been sitting there ready for landfill. But obviously, that's the last place we want to be putting things if we can get away with it. So we've come up with the concept of getting out there, picking this gork mesh up, and then going through the process to make it into a silt sock. Obviously, some of the questions are asked, well, how do you clean it? It's all professionally cleaned, because obviously you do get contaminants from roads that will have dirty deposits on it. So we go through a cleaning process, and then we'll then go to the next slide to explain how this is actually coming from a raw material to a silt sock. So we've partnered with Social Enterprise, Assembled Threads. We've given them the concept. They've made a few samples. We've got the samples out. We're now beginning production, and they've been doing a fantastic job. So one of the key takeaways from this is that we wanted to produce something that was a lot more robust than traditional imported silt socks, because they tend to split. As soon as a vehicle rolls over them, they just destroy. So we've had a number of meetings with Assembled Threads. We've come up with this concept. The gork mesh is a lot stronger. It's more durable, and it's made with Moringa grade cotton, which is UV resistance. It's double stitched. We've made it in a way that it will outlast the Chinese imported version. And obviously the win there is that we're using Social Enterprise as well to make it. So we're creating jobs there. That's obviously in Melbourne. So it's ticking a big box there. So if we could just move to the next one, great. So we use as I touched on, a reclaimed aggregate, which is double washed to remove any potential contaminants that may be there. Often this rock's used from existing civil sites. It's broken down. It's been purchased through Repurpose It. So we're very fussy in the way that we're not just using a rock that we're not sure that it's clean. It goes through a double washing process, which is reasonably expensive, but it comes out with a fantastic product. So if we can go to the next slide. So the other things further from that, we decided that we have some waste from the guard dog drain filter, which I touched on earlier. So that's made from recycled materials, the actual material, and we get a lot of offcuts. So we come up with a concept of lining the silt sock with this particular material. Not only does it takes out hydrocarbon sheen, but also it filters down to 53 microns. So not only did we add an added feature, bring an added feature to the silt sock that nothing else has had before. With this particular sock, you can put it down. It's very flexible, and also this guard dog material will take out a little bit of the oily sheen that's often found on roads. and it's getting rid of obviously what was going into the waste stream of cut-offs. It's now being put inside the silt sock. So if we just go to the next one. So as I touched on, we are really passionate about durability. The sock itself is obviously dearer to make in Australia. There's obviously processes of getting the aggregate. There's processes of actually cleaning the material. There's a lot of processes you've got to go through to make sure you develop a top quality product. So we did some testings. We've got videos on these testings as well. But so typically the end result there, we just captured the last photo. The green silt sock was completely broken, the underside and all the insides were coming out of it. We did the same testing with the geofabric silt sock and it just completely was destroyed. And then we did it with the recycled silt sock. We pulled that up and perfectly intact. There's just a few scratches on it, showing that there was literally the durability of this particular product is far longer life. It's got a far longer expected life than its competitors. So we'll just go to the next one. So to finish up the presentation, to keep within the 10 minutes, we've partnered with SPR, SPA Alliance, one of the Parkdale sites has these socks in place. They've been doing testing on it for probably around about 3 to 4 months now. Initial first prototypes come out prior to Christmas, but the actual production's been going for about 3 months. So they've got them out there on their sites and they're doing reports on it. And so far, they're very, very positive feedback. So from here on, we've supplied quite a number of sites. They'll be now going out there in the wider community. And I guess the question is, from my perspective, is we're keen to get this out and about in the industry, and we're offering free samples to any infrastructure project that hasn't or is not aware of the product until today. I'm very happy to donate some of these out to sites and get clients to try them for themselves. So I think that's all from me.
Thanks so much, Nelson. That's super, super interesting. And I love that someone's reusing the Gork mesh. It's been a bit of a bugbear for me, but yeah, really great to see it go into such a fabulous product. Irina, start with you. But you're on mute.
Sorry, has to happen sometimes. Thanks, Paul, for presentation. Obviously, there are obvious benefits for this product as you presented. My question is around, and I've noticed that, and we haven't spoken about the cost, but I assume the cost is a bit higher than other products. But what I wanted to ask is, can this be recycled again? And can you maybe offset the costs on the basis that it can be recycled again and reused?
Yeah, it's a good question. My answer to that at this point, because the product's actually it's getting through concept into getting out on the field. We did have the suggestion that if this product did fail, there will be an end of life, obviously, of the product at some stage, whether we would supply the outer casings and then you can reuse it's like a new outer casing and then you can reuse some of the recycled aggregate. There's been other suggestions that we could, in fact, once we do that, once it gets to a number of life cycles, the product itself could then be used as a padding or a packing for a cushion, for something for the civil site. We haven't got that far yet. The main benefit at this point is the longevity. So typically when these burst, there's a lot of labour content going out and cleaning the rock from the drains, because inevitably it ends up in the drain. So that's one big challenge the environmentalists have replacing these things 3 or 4 times to our one. So to answer that question, at this point we haven't, but there is a lot of additional benefits in less labour costs to try and maintain the drains. You can just set this and you've got a lot longer lifespan.
And what do you see the key, I guess, barrier for this product, if you see any?
Sorry, the barrier.
Yeah, like what prevents you to kind of launch this and be utilized more? You know, what do you see as a problem at the moment?
The challenges obviously are price. To give you an idea, the standard silt socks around the $16 mark, and this is 42. And if you want to put the insert, it's an option, the hydrocarbon insert in there, it's $48. Once you put that hydrocarbon insert in there, it's really, you're creating a product that's completely different to its competitors. So it is on a different wavelength, but it competes with the $42 one. So the first I suppose your pushback is the price factor. But what I point out is if you're getting 3 to 5 times longer life and all the labor costs, therefore you're going to be it's going to be a better product in long term as far as dollars and cents. But it's to get that out there to the wider community and to the civil infrastructure companies. So that's a challenge. It's taking off all right, but yeah, certainly we would, if we could push a little bit harder in that area, it'd be fantastic.
I mean, it might be a good idea to kind of present it in the way that, let's say if you use the other product, you may have to replace them a few times, which means the cost is increased anyway compared to this one. So just to clarify a little bit more the benefits, you know, that would kind of and compare the costs, I guess, because otherwise, if you just compare the unit cost, then obviously it's not very attractive.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very good point, and that's really what we're working on, is to try and present the product as longevity and less labor costs. It's everyone's governed by price to a certain extent. They've got budgets to meet. There's obviously freight benefits as well, because they are a heavy product. So if you're using 30 of these and you're using 100 of the others, there's cost savings if we present it correctly, and what you bring up is very important.
Thank you.
Thank you, Irina. Paul, we'll go to you next.
This is probably more of a question, but at the moment, do you also provide the service of like taking them away, like at the end they're used on a job, but do you actually take them, clean them, and help transport them around? Is that, or is it typically the constructor who buys them and is responsible for that? Because there's probably an opportunity potentially there, as you were saying before. The fact that it lasts a lot longer, you can almost provide the service of moving it around and providing it to different players in the market, or at least the same company over and over again. Is that something that you're currently looking at?
So we haven't got that far. So typically the way it sits at the moment, we pack it in-house. So the product's manufacturing comes to us, and we actually pack it with the rock. We send it to site in either pallets or whatever quantities are required. The environmentalist normally on the site would then dedicate someone to go out and deploy those controls. The challenge is what you raise. It's a good point. The challenge, I think, there would be your health and safety. Are you registered to go onto those particular sites and perform those works? Would be some challenges. So at this point of time, it's a very good point you raise. But at this stage, we supply. Happy to go to the site, monitor it. We do videos on site and very happy to partner with anyone as far as that goes. But as far as an ongoing deployment of these, this stage is out of our scope.
And obviously you've got like lots of benefits that flow through across multiple. Obviously there's the sustainability benefits, but you've also got local content. You're an Australian business, and you've also got social procurement. You highlighted that. I guess, have you tried to put together, and it's quite a complicated task, but I guess almost like a value of some of those things, because that very much factors in not just a lifespan, as you said, if it lasts significantly longer than the competing product as a cost per use, it's already quite competitive. But when you add in all of the additional benefits, sometimes those, if you can put a monetary value, at least an attempt at that, makes it sometimes quite an easier I guess, sell internally within certain organisations. Have you had much of a go at trying to put value to some of those benefits?
So, yeah, very good question. We have, once again, we haven't put a dollar and cents onto all those, and that is a very good point what you raised. Where we're at, we've advertised in a way that the benefits are longevity, the benefits are social procurement, and we've outlined the benefits, but as far as putting a monetary value on it, that's a possibility, because it's a product that needs to be sold for its benefits rather than just look at a price and compare. A lot of mindset, I think, I say that carefully, a mindset is that it's recycled, made from recycled content, so it should be cheaper. But we may need to advertise the fact that this is a long life product, and it is the benefits it's made from recycled content, and the benefits are social enterprise. We're supporting that as well, locally made content. So very, very valid point, and it may be a way that we need to change the look of our marketing to create the buyer awareness.
And I guess the existing competing product, what typically happens with that at the end of does that go into landfill typically? Is that recycled at all? Even into, I guess you could maybe take some of the content, but is it typically go to landfill? Typically
goes to landfill. Sadly, half it ends up down the gutter because the actual product itself, because it's not very durable, it breaks, and then there's all the issues of cleaning contaminants. Not only as the rock go down the gutter, it's holding back maybe potential contaminants that also goes down the gutter. So it's a lose-lose situation when you're using a cheaper product, whereas using something as durable, obviously it all goes back to the site managers and keeping tabs on if there is an issue with something on the site and it's not performing, it needs to be removed. That would obviously be the construction manager or the environmentalists on that site would need to monitor that. But yeah, when they're typically breaking, anytime a wheel goes over them, it's, they just can't be everywhere on all parts of the site every minute.
Thank you. Andrew.
Thanks, Nelson, for the presentation. Judging by the questions, I think we all believe it's a very good product, and it seems that the hurdle relates to the one of cost and how you actually assess the value of your product. And Paul and Irina's questions, I suppose highlighted that it's more than just dollars that can point out whether there's value in your product or not. And I think you've already done some testing in terms of that, that loading testing to demonstrate the product is, from a load perspective, should provide longer life. Then it's the other stuff like durability that you need to assess. So maybe once you get the product out there, you can do your own trialing comparison. You can come back to potential buyers and say, yeah, my product lasts 3 times longer than the others, and there's value there. So just an observation. So thanks, Nelson.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Thanks so much, panelists. And Nelson, there's a couple of questions in the Q&A for you as well. Sure. Next, I'd like to invite Aspire.
Hi, thanks, Lauren. Yeah, thanks for that too, Nelson. That was really, really beneficial, especially the social benefit of that. I think it's a great product, and hope to see it a little bit more. But hi guys, my name's Cameron McKenzie. I'm the CEO of Aspire. I'm not quite sure if you've heard of us, but basically we are a platform that reuses and repurposes anything from concrete to bricks to tables and chairs into electronic equipment. But Lauren, please go on and we'll tick off. So basically, I'm going to try and keep to the 10 minutes today. But basically, here's just an agenda of what we're going to be talking about, and I'll go through these in the slides. But I've actually created this deck in a way so it can be shared after it to anyone, so you can go through. So hence why you'll see some information here, which is quite detailed, and some it isn't. Please, next one, Lauren, thanks. Yeah, so a little bit of background about Aspire. So Aspire was actually created by CSIRO and Data61 back in 2014. And basically they created an algorithm inside the platform that intellectually matches business surplus materials or products at end of life or have decreased to a value where they want to increase and cause some more reuse out of those products. We've got over 200 different types of commodities on the platform that we use. So again, anything from CED products to tables and chairs, you name it, it's on there. We transitioned to commercial operations back in 2019, 100% independent of CSIRO. We've been generating about 4 million revenue since 2019. We've got over 4,000 users, you can see here. One thing here that sort of steps us apart from our competitors, we're actually ISO verified to be reporting to carbon emissions avoidance by using the platform. So any resource that goes through it, we can actually report and create impact certificates. I'll go through that in a minute. But also too, we've actually saved our members or businesses on the platform over $3.5 million so far. And one of the other things that we've got, we'll go through, we've got tracking and tracing via QR codes or RFDs on the platform too. So as the federal government, as you know, they've got some track and traceability frameworks. We work hand in hand with delivering on that aspect of it. Next one, please, Lauren. Yeah, so basically this is how Aspire works. So via a manual, you can do it individually. It takes less than a minute to upload one resource or 100 resources. You get it onto the platform. The algorithm does the match off the back of that. Connections are made and people are alerted through the platform. And with that, once it transacts, we get regulatory compliance around the decarbonisation targets. The data and information, I think, that comes out of the platform is quite unique. We've never seen anything or another person sort of come up with that data with the platform. And obviously, we get another thing we get out of it is the circular economy aspects of it. Landfill diversion, and we obviously open up the recycling market. But what we want to do is with the platform, the algorithms are generated regarding reuse and repurpose over sort of that recycling. But as recycling is really important in what we do. So next one, please, Lauren. Yeah, so basically, this is some of the stuff that we report on. So what we've got there is a couple of snapshots of information that the platform generates. So basically the middle slide there is information you get on your suppliers. So when they use the platform and what we do, I'll give you a prime example of how it works. We've got an organisation in Queensland that use Aspire, and basically with their access that they've got, they can actually invite suppliers into their business. So anyone in their supply or value chain, and actually watch and manage the resources that come out of their project and into their project. So they can actually go down to that granular level. And you can see that draft copy on the side, and that's like a general certificate or impact certificate that we generate and give to our customers so they can actually report on what they're doing on their decarbonisation targets. And it's all ISO verified, you can see there. And basically how it works is we obviously bring that supply chain into the platform and we can manage the contractor information so we can actually see what comes in and goes out. And also de-risks a lot of the projects and helps businesses and organisations hit those sustainable targets within those projects and project guidelines. Lauren? Yeah, so basically this is how I was talking about the ISO verification embodied carbon. So basically, I'll give you an example of how this works. So one tonne of tyres is equivalent of about, I think it's 3.2 tonnes of carbon. So basically, when you actually put that through the platform, or we can measure that transaction and where it's ended up, we actually can generate these reports, right? So, and one of the things that sort of drives that is basically for us to be able to manage it, it has to go into the platform. So it's a bit of a driver to get businesses to actually use it and transact. As I said, we've got over 200 different types of commodities on the platform. So basically what we do is when you actually load a resource or you select the resource, you do 2 or 3 attributes you select. We actually go to a third party and pull that embodied carbon value. And it comes back through our methodology. And then we can sit here and go, hey guys, this is how much carbon you've saved by that exchange or over this period or for this project. Next one, thanks, Lauren. So these are some of our current and past users in the pipeline. So basically, we've got over 32 local governments all around Australia. We are Australia-wide. We're actually also too in Hong Kong, and we've just sort of launched the business in Qatar too. So they've got a lot of infrastructure projects going on over there, which is quite important in a different world. Trust me, it's very different to what we're dealing with here locally. We're doing projects at the moment with Ventia, Stockland, Transport for New South Wales in the past. They've used the platform. We're doing a pilot with a few of the guys here. Stadiums Queensland is a real opportunity that we're working with at the moment, purely because they're doing a lot around the Olympics and the reuse and repurpose of all those materials. And one of the biggest things about anyone knows about the Olympics are coming up, they're trying to make it carbon positive. So we're sort of assisting with what they can deliver on that aspect of it. We've got over, that's right. As I said, we've got a lot of users on the platform, but basically this is one of the big drivers that I wanted to talk about today. So basically, as we've been now for this is the second year we're going. We're part of the ISC, and we're obviously a part of their rating system and rating tool. You can see the applicable credits up the top there. So basically, by using Aspire or applying it to your base project, we help you with 88 out of your 80 odd credits that you need for your project. So, and that's just purely by using the platform. So from there, a lot of our users see it as a no-brainer, even just to bring it on, because purely they can help with those IS rating schemes. So thank you, Warren. Yeah, so basically what I'm going to do, this is like a case study that I want to share. So basically, we've got a resource recovery company in Queensland that's been using Aspire for a long time. And basically what they did is they loaded and measured some of the impacts from their business for the last 12 months. And you can see there we could verify that it was obviously over 40,000 tonnes of CO2 emissions saved, over 200,000 tonnes diverted from landfill that were destined that we measured. And one of the things here that was right important is they actually uploaded 23,000 transactions or movements of materials, right? So the data that came out of that was amazing. We were quite impressed how the platform reacted and some of the data they pulled out of it. And from that, they actually used that to generate and go towards grants and get more funding for projects and hit certain deliverables. So, and they got a lot more work out of some of the presentations that we sort of delivered and some of the information we got for them by repurposing it. Next one, Lauren. Here's another aspect of how Aspire, the impact we create and the scalability of it. Also too, this is a link to our case studies on our platform. So after this, you can have a look at it. It will link to it. So basically on the left here is an example of a customer that what we've got that use that they've actually got about 123 staff that use Aspire we've onboarded, and they've got approximately about 500 of their supply and value chain using the platform or in the platform. So with that, we get a lot of important data out of that, but we can see there that basically we've saved them over $1.2 million by using the platform, either buying procurement or having to dispose of items, not actually having to send it to landfill, which was really impressive. You can also see there it's over 2,000 tonnes of carbon emissions avoided just for the year. And on the right-hand side, this is an infrastructure project or case study that we had. So basically, we had an organisation that, due to some floods, had some roads lift and move. And basically, they got quoted, I think it was about $75,000 to get rid of it. And basically, by listing that item into Aspire, they managed to repurpose it or rehome it for little or no cost. It was just a bit of labour and a bit of diesel to move it from where it was to where it ended up. And basically, with that, we saved the organisations and the local government over $200,000 in that, so they didn't have to treat it or dispose of it. They actually just repurposed it on another property that they had. So again, there's a great use case of basically how businesses are looking to be more sustainable options and looking at sustainable procurement and different ways rather than the mundane sending it to landfill or getting a waste contractor to get it. They're actually looking at different ways they can repurpose these resources internally and externally and within a network. Next one, thanks, Lauren. Yeah, so Aspire. So what businesses get out of it and some of the reasonings why they want to work with us is basically we allow them or enable them to empower their businesses and their customers. So the way one of the ways that Aspire works and the business model is if you have, say, the major roads project, join Aspire and want to use it, you can actually invite all the subcontractors into the network and use that as that procurement tool, that management tool. So it allows organisations and people to be leaders in their industry and bring their contractors onto the platform, as well as show them the best way to do things moving forward. Again, Aspire is simple, quick, scalable, and the proof's in the pudding. It works. It's been working well. It's been around 10 years, commercial operations for 5. We've got some exciting projects coming up in the next 12 months, which is great. And the other reasoning why is, why not be a part of something bigger and better? Everyone is working towards a digital age, moving it through. I myself worked in construction for 15 years. I built things from hospitals to roads to rail, you name it. And from going from that perspective of having that insight and now running an IT company that manages the data and does this home repurposing, it gives us a unique sort of outlook on some of the benefits of how to position the company. And that's why we've been doing it, putting it in that aspect. Thanks, Lauren. So, so basically what can we do with Aspire? Some of the images are moved here, but basically what we're sort of looking to do off this obviously presentation is we want Aspire to be the primary and recommended material repurpose partner for ecologiQ and major roads, major transport. So and we want businesses or anyone on the call to be using Aspire's rating tool as a key driver to sustainable projects targets and to hit them. So again, it's a plug and play with that aspect of it. And what we're looking to do is look for piloting partners and to do some really long-term developments towards shifting Aspire in such a way to sort of really help businesses and anyone working in the industry. And one thing that we're quite aware of is basically Aspire. We're not here to jam a square peg into a round hole. So with that, we understand and we work with our customers to adapt the platform to their day-to-day and what they are doing, so we can actually report and help them with that. So once we work with an organisation, we go in there and we say, okay, well, what's the scope of the project? How are we going to try to embed it into your original business structures? And we basically adopt a platform to that, so you can get what you need out of it and to help save money, time, and effort. So thanks, Lauren. Also, too, Niels is on the call. He's heads up our partnership and new business. Please scan that QR code to learn a bit more about it. It goes to the platform. But yeah, I'd like to open up for questions if anyone's if anyone wants to.
Beautiful. Thanks so much, Cam, and great to see some of those awesome numbers on there as well. The evidence really speaks for itself. Paul, we'll go to you first.
I've got a few questions. I guess the first one is, first of all, great presentation and very interesting. I guess the barriers to adoption at the moment, what are you seeing as the key barrier to this being used more broadly?
Yeah, so at the moment we pretty much see the barriers. It's not necessarily mandated, right? So that basically we work with organisations where it is now we're going into tender documentation for government contracts up in Queensland, right? So that's really driving a lot of the change into it. We find in that the barriers is the system, or I've worked in construction, not much has really changed in the processes and deliverables in the last 30 years, right? Technology, it's very slow to get adopted in the industry. And I can, as I said, I've been in the industry for 15 odd plus years, right? So and from when I was an apprentice to when I finished as a project manager, like some of the tools changed a little bit, but nothing towards the sourcing of resources or measuring the outcome or the carbon emissions. So but I think basically with the carbon disclosure statements that are coming in a couple of months, that's really been a big driver. So that's sort of been the carrot that's coming into it. So when it comes to the barriers, I think it's just a matter of that sort of, I wouldn't say old industry, but in an industry that's slowly changing.
And I guess I had one which is around and who it's sort of partly targeted to. Would you also take into account like suppliers of existing materials, so that, or at least partnering with someone that, so that's a middleware almost, that it provides both as obviously as much recycled content as you can, but where it isn't available though, and where they would typically buy non-recycled content, you're able to almost maximize the use so that you're almost either you're partnering with someone that sits there, or is that something that you might be interested in, where you become almost like this material supplier platform that people can get all materials from, and obviously they maximize the recycled content at the same time?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we've got people that, like, we've got a guy on the platform that he's looking for 2 million tons, which is a lot, of clean fill. And we've got and so they're looking at that as that demand side of it. So they're looking for that information. And we've got another guy on the platform that I think he does about 6,000 tons per month that he puts onto it, right? So we're sort of that brokerage, sort of put these people together. We get them to use the platform to exchange it, but also to, if they doesn't go through the platform, we can't manage the data or reward them on that aspect of it or certify it. So that's where that really important aspect does. We've got people that sit there and put recycled content that they sell or they make onto the platform all the time. And with the platform, there's actually like a payment gateway on it, so you can sell it on there as like some market or a channel to your market, as well as looking at for sustainable procurement. So there's all different ways that people slice and dice it. So and we're pretty fluid with the way that we need to be.
But it links up the different players that then transact through the platform, but almost independently. So I'm almost trying to put, like, how I'd imagine a site engineer's ordering something and said, I need X amount of material. They probably, people being people, will naturally gravitate towards what's probably the easiest for them. It's probably easy for them to go, I'll get something where everything's in the one scope, not that I need to get certain amount from one player, certain amount from another player. Is there that middleware, or where you provide everything and it might come from 5 different players underneath?
Yeah, absolutely. It's up to, like, they'll see the people in the market or the products that they want, and they'll reach out to them and go, hey, I want this, I want that, I want that. We've got a guy who sits there and he, what does he do? He recycles timber beams, a lot of it, right? And he needs a lot of supply. And the supplies that he gets, their volumes fluctuate, right? So he bounces between them all. So he does all that through the platform.
Okay.
Beautiful. Thank you. Irina.
Thanks, Cam, for the presentation. I mean, it looks like the key problem you're trying to resolve is kind of promoting and getting more users, I guess, for the platform, so it can actually be more and more beneficial for everyone. So in terms of promoting, all I can suggest is that obviously your key audience is still going to be contractors and suppliers, so I don't know if you were trying to, apart from forums like this, to kind of go directly and contact those contractors to kind of show them the benefits. And the other thing is how you actually demonstrate the benefits of this tool versus another tool that they're used to, or the standard methods of it. So maybe a little bit more kind of case studies that you can present, saying, here is what you do now, and this is what this can help you. Maybe that will help. But in terms of a question I have for you is more what you mentioned before, that you're now getting involved with the tendering stages of projects with government. Can you explain to us what sort of involvement and what sort of help you offer there?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, we've got a government organisation in Queensland that they use us, and it's a new project they're kicking off. So basically, and they've got a lot of tenders are going out. So all the tender information is a big chunk. It took me about a day to help them write that sort of paragraph into it. And basically what they are is they're subscribing to the platform, but any business that wants to work with them has to use it and use the platform to measure their impact. So it's more like the way that we do it. It wouldn't be necessarily sometimes the contractors paying for it. They can, no problem, right? There's no issue. They can create their own circular ecosystem with their own projects. However, what we find is basically getting the top-down approach, or someone like Major Transport or whatever to subscribe and to use it, and then it gets that saturation through the market a lot quicker rather than going from the individual once it's in the tender information.
Do you review any specifications or products that are kind of in the tender documents, and offer some ideas, or not necessarily?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we go through it with the customer and say, hey, we recommend if you want to get the uptake of sort of Aspire into the project, we would add it to here, or we would maybe change a word here. As I said, I spent like 4 hours going through the tender documentation with one of our customers just to try to get the message right. So basically, they've let the manage the expectations of the contractors to use it, and with their targets of being like they're trying to make it a carbon positive project, things like that. So we sort of help that or help review it. It's just a part of the service that we do, especially when they come on and they subscribe. So our outcome is we want their businesses and we want transactions and tonnages through it, right? So we sort of assist in that. It's one of the services that we provide.
Look, all I can suggest, I guess, in addition to that, is it will help whoever is putting the tender documents together, or designers or anyone else, to actually suggest what sort of products are available, especially in that local area where you're working on, and maybe they can be specified on the drawings, you know, instead of using this product, using that product, or something like that. You know, that will help, because then it's directly kind of specified on the design drawings and can be kind of implemented, you know, on the project, rather than being optional, you know, at the time of construction.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what I sort of help them do is to manage that data or the information. Yeah, and basically, if there's a product that that's specified, we want it on the platform as well, right? So, but there's different ways that we sort of create value in those projects.
Okay, that's all for me. Thanks.
Thanks, Irina. Andrew.
Sorry, Cam. Yeah, camera's working. Thanks, Cam, for the presentation. One of the areas that is there's a lot more interest in is that of carbon assessments, and as we move to life cycle costing, life cycle assessments, etc., involving carbon. You spoke about ISO certification. Explain that process in a bit more detail. What you actually are certifying, and what's the source of information that's been certified?
Yeah, no problem. So basically, when a business uses Aspire, they upload certain amount of information, well, the title of the product, the weight, the volume, where it's come from, previous use, several attributes. They can select what they wish.
Mm-hmm.
And basically with that, there's probably about 4 or 5 data points that we pull. And basically we send it to a third party called the Footprint Company. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're out of Sydney. And they've got probably about 200,000 different carbon variants or values for different products. So basically what we do is we go through their database, we pull out the best metric from the information we send, and that basically comes back through our methodology, and we go, okay, cool. So, and basically when you list an item or you exchange an item, it's got like a carbon embodied value of that product if it's reused, repurposed. Right. So basically once it goes through the platform, person lists it, person takes it, goes through, the transaction's completed, or we can say, hey, this exchange, or you both contributed to this carbon emissions avoidance because you've sourced this product.
Right. So the assessment is done on the specific product being offered up rather than generic numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very specific on the product going in. Yeah.
And how often how long does certification last for? Is it done every 12 months, 2 years, 6 years? What's the process there?
So we get recertified every 12 months.
Right.
The person who sort of like the Footprint Company, I think I'm not quite sure how often they do, but they're all, when it comes to that embodied carbon, they're all self-assessors. They all assess each other and test their numbers against each other.
Mm-hmm.
So basically they come and do us every 12 months. And our methodology, and make sure. And if we change anything in the platform or the workflows, we go back to them and go, hey, is this right? Is this correct? And they say, yeah, no problem. Yes, it is. Or no, you can't do that. Or you can't say this, you can't say that. But also too, with them, the best thing about it is we don't hold that data, and they change their values frequently, and that doesn't affect us. So basically all it does is we just pull that point of data that changes when they do their self-assessments or they certify their products.
Okay. And last question, I know you work across Australia and more broadly. Do suppliers indicate where possible that they meet state specification requirements to make it easier for purchasers to know they're getting something that's already compliant, and the path to using it's quite an easy one then?
Yeah, absolutely. So when someone joins Aspire, they can upload certain certifications or certificates that they abide by. right? And when you actually upload a resource or product, if there's an MSDS or something like that you want to upload, you can actually attach it to it as well. So that basically come off the back of working with like the John Hollands of the world, and they go, hey, it'd be really cool because we're transporting X product, it's got to go with this certificate or it's got to go with this digital footprint or whatever. So you can actually upload that into the resource. So it actually goes from point A to point B.
Thank you, Cam.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. So just going to go through the next slide. So now I'd like to invite Glenn from ecologiQ to come on and give us a little presentation on the Recycle First summary report. Glenn.
Yeah, thanks, Lauren. So part of our remit at ecologiQ is, is to collect and analyse the data that's supplied by contractors who are delivering projects under the Big Build. So in 2023, last year, we undertook a review of the projects that have been procured under the Recycled First policy. So that's from 2020 to 2023 to assess the effectiveness of the policy and our program in driving greater use of recycled and reused materials. The summary report that we've prepared speaks to a couple of different interests, including the amount of recycled and reused materials adopted on rail and road projects to date, comparisons between metro projects and regional projects, because each one has a different set of constraints and requirements, adoption rates of materials and further opportunities for greater use, feedback from contractors, including challenges and opportunities, especially around initial rollout of the policy and implementation in a practical sense, lessons learnt so far, prioritising actions for certain waste streams to overcome adoption barriers, and the future demand for recycled and reused materials forecast over a 5-year period. So some key takeouts that we've come up with so far is that the uptake of permitted opportunities to use recycled materials has doubled on road projects since the policy was introduced. And importantly, that's compared to best practice projects pre-policy. So these are projects that ecologiQ actually assisted during delivery, but they weren't technically covered by the policy. And they did a really good job in the current environment, but our business as usual road projects are now delivering twice as much recycled material on a like-for-like basis, which is obviously a really big, significant jump. Metropolitan projects have got somewhere between 2 and 3 times higher recycled material adoption rate than regional projects. That's understandable and primarily due to local product availability and transport constraints on regional projects. Approximately 2/3 of all material used across the Big Build could potentially be replaced with recycled or reused materials. So there's a phenomenal amount of material that's going into these projects. And if you think that 2/3 of it could actually be recycled or reused, we could vastly, vastly cut down on the virgin material that's being used. And to date of that, if you take the 2/3 as 100%, we're now doing something like 60 or 70% of what's possible is recycled. So getting better, always room for further growth, and then we can push standards to increase that pie even further. So as an industry, what we have found is that we have to do more in plastic and rubber. There's still a lot of plastic and rubber that's going to landfill, and whilst we're growing the opportunity to use that with new products, there still needs to be an ongoing focus because there is so much of it going to landfill. But overall, we're encouraged by the insights and performance of the policy so far. So the summary report is actually available publicly on the Big Build website. I don't know if you just want to flip to the next one. So anyone here can view that. It's bigbuild.vic.gov.au. And then a little bit tricky to navigate to it, but you go to About Us from the menu on the left, then ecologiQ, news from ecologiQ, and then it's called Victoria's Recycled First Policy 4 years on is the news article, and the summary report is in that. So anyone's welcome to view that. If you have any questions, send them through to the ecologiQ email. But just want to take the opportunity as well, in case there's people in this meeting, to just thank all of the VETA project partners, project officers and contractors, rail transport operators, as well as colleagues at DTP, SV, and NTRO for assistance to date in compiling this report via providing the data, doing the day-to-day job and implementing the policy. Without everyone's assistance, we wouldn't be able to come up with useful insights and progress things further. So thanks to everyone involved, and yeah, welcome everybody to get on the website and have a look.
Thanks so much, Glenn. And yeah, it's a super interesting report. I do encourage everyone to go on and have a little look. So finally, all of today's innovations that were presented will be uploaded to our innovations register, which can be found on the ecologiQ Knowledge Hub. If you don't have access, I'll pop up the website in a second. Please reach out. Here we go. So yeah, if you still need access to the Knowledge Hub, please email us at ecologiq@roadprojects.vic.gov.au. We've got a fabulous comms team who will help you to gain access to that site. Lots of great things on there. Also, don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn to stay up to date with everything that's going on. And lastly, when you exit this session today, you will be redirected to a survey. It's just 5 questions or multiple choice, so super easy. We'd really appreciate if you can all spare a minute or two to complete that for us. It's really helpful for us. Thank you so much for coming today, everybody. A huge thank you to all of our panelists and presenters. I hope everyone's really enjoyed the session today and has something that they can take away with them. Thank you again, and have a fantastic weekend.